Because the fact of the matter is, most of us don't really know what emptiness is at all. Because what we feel when the time comes when our plans turn to dust, when some image is shattered by an unexpected moment, that precious instant in passing time is brought about by something that is timeless, so as to introduce the man or woman who is willing to understand why that keeps coming. Why do those moments keep appearing? Why am I unable to sit quietly for 10 minutes? When they understand that every last one of those moments that they so would rather avoid is actually the gateway, the door to a life where they're no longer disturbed by their own nature, they would sell all, which we're going to talk about the meaning of that in our talk. Until you see that you live in a cage, you can't be set free. We've talked a little bit, and I'll cover it again briefly, about the nature of this cage that we live in, that by and large we don't see. Only we're going to look at it from a slightly different angle today. And that is that the cage that we live in, and do you agree? How many of you walk around knowing you live in a cage? Anybody? No, you don't. You do not. If you knew it, you wouldn't be in it. People go, yeah, I know I live in a cage. No, you don't. The cage appears when the conditions create the self that creates it through resisting. That's when the cage appears. Somebody says something I don't like, my mind returns to the past, pulls up a picture, I think about the future, something's not getting done, slam goes the cage. So the cage, the actual cage, is an element of our own consciousness that is essentially produced by a set of alternating unconscious forces. Don't get lost. The alternating unconscious forces that are the principal energy in this cage of ours is resistance and insistence. Those are the principal alternating forces that produce the cage that we live in. How many of you get a drift of that just from what I've said? How many of you have no clue what the heck I'm talking about? Resistance, insistence. What do I run into in life that I don't like? What I've insisted on. Period. I insist that you treat me a certain way. The minute you don't treat me that way, what do I do with you? I resist you. And when I resist you, I come up with a new way to become something that you will not love so much you'll change everything for me. And then I have a plan for becoming, and I insist that it take place because my identity depends upon it. And then what happens next? My dog won't behave. I'm serious. In that moment, I'm rageful. I lose my temper. I'm upset. Why? Because you are not doing what I need you to do in order for me to be as I've imagined I am. So I resist the behavior of my dog. Alternating forces that seem to be separate forces, when they are not separate forces at all, they are adjoining forces. They are complementary opposites that we don't recognize as such, because when we insist that things go the way we want to, are we thinking that we're going to run into a moment where we resist the way it came about? Are we? Or are we captured in an identity that's going to become at peace and happy with itself, only to find out that the self that imagined that condition always runs into something that challenges the condition, and now I'm the self that resists the very thing that was imagined into existence by me.